What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the day is here. IGN FanFest 2022 just happened. I believe this might be the first time that they've ever done this. And as far as Lego Star Wars is concerned, they did an excellent job. We got about a 15-minute interview with the actual designers. But in addition to that, we got a really cool video breaking down new gameplay, new characters showcased, new elements discussed via the developer diary. And this one is about a 5-minute and 33-second video, which we're going to go through here in detail in just a moment. Of course, guys, if you do enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button. Huge thank you to you guys for your support. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're getting really close to the release of this game. We're about, 45-ish days away from this thing, if you're watching it today, of course. So very excited for April 5th. Let me know if you guys pre-ordered the game, and if so, what console are you going to be playing it on down in the comment section below. And of course, also guys, check out the description box below to either become a member of the channel. Huge thank you to our members for supporting the channel. And of course, you can also check the description box for the merch. There's actually brand new merch that just went live, so consider go checking it out. Thank you so very much for your support. Now, with all that chilling out of the way, a couple of things that I want to point out as context for this. So this is a standalone developer diary post that was posted by IGN separately of their actual event. And one thing that is still kind of disappointing with everything that we've seen for Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga up to this day, which would be February 19th of 2022, is that we have not seen this game actually run at 60 FPS. This video is still only posted at 1080p. So there's no 60 FPS. I don't even mind if it was 1080p, but 60 FPS, that would be really cool. Unfortunately, that is just not something that they have shared yet. We do know that the game should have the capability to run at 60 FPS, at least on the most current consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, but we haven't seen any of it yet. So that's going to be interesting to see how it runs, whether it looks good, runs good, etc. And of course, with that in mind, let's press play. So here we go, guys. Right off the bat, we have some really cool shots.
I've been a massive fan of Lego and Star Wars since I was very young.
There's lightsabers, there's spaceships, there's weird aliens.
It was just
I like that they cut to that. There's weird aliens. I honestly, I have no idea who this character is. It is a really goofy looking design, but I love it because that's what Star Wars is. The more, think about this. Like, if we have characters like this playable, how in depth is the roster? You know what I mean? And that's something that I will point out also, because let's play a game along with this trailer where, guys, try to spot how many different costumes we see for, let's say, Han Solo or Obi-Wan or Luke. Pick a character and then see how many different looks do we see them in.
It was just a privilege to be able to work on the game.
It's just a franchise that spans.
That's a really nice shot. We didn't get that before. No. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out here, this is something that is going to be extremely controversial about this game. I know a lot of people are going to be very unhappy with it. In fact, I wouldn't say that I'm unhappy with it. I just don't like that design choice. But you'll notice that, for example, if we look at these two Star Destroyers in the back here, they look incredibly flat. Now, when people say, what does that mean? Well, if we compare it to even the Millennium Falcon right here, you can see the little studs all over this thing. And so it makes it feel more three-dimensional, and it gives it a little bit of a better sense of texture. Whereas the Star Destroyer, because it is authentically built like the real Star Destroyer Lego sets, because you have the brick side, you don't have the studded side displayed. So you kind of have like this flat portion. Because of that, it's going to look very flat. And it almost looks like there's a technical problem here, as if the textures haven't loaded in. If you've ever played a game that is not maybe technically sound, oftentimes it will have these sorts of issues where you'll walk by and it seems like there's no texture, and then it kind of loads in and it appears. This has a bit of that problem where it almost looks like that's the problem, but it isn't, because this is an aesthetical and an art style or direction choice. And so when they get a little bit closer, like right here, you do start, you see, like at this moment, everything still seems very flat across here. you can see like, again, it still looks very bad. But then as we move a tad bit closer here, right? Like right there, especially, you can see the texturing on the side starts to appear. So you'll see that throughout this trailer. It appears multiple times. It's particularly bad on the Star Destroyer, which we'll see in a moment. By the way, first look for Han Solo. There he is. There it is. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga behind the scenes.
We started talking about doing a new
this, by the way, the Jonathan Smith is the gentleman that was also interviewed by IGN for a little bit more time, and I will bring up all the details that he brought up in that as well. I have them written down so we don't have to like go through that entire interview as well.
Ambition swelled because as fans, we love all the movies, and to have the opportunity to tell the whole saga from episode 1 all the way through to episode 9, we knew we had to take it further than we'd ever been.
Agreed.
We started off by having regular meetings with Lego and Lucasfilm, discussing just everything.
I love, dude, even these shots here, they just look so wonderful in terms of like, look how vast everything looks. Like it looks so different and so unique, right? Like you look at, this is the, I guess the locations that we get to visit in episode 1, and look how different the locations are, whether it be space, cities, way out in space, like the battlefield here. Like there's so many unique areas. It looks really, really cool, you know?
Design of Star Wars, what makes a Star
like I love this portion right here. I love the concept art because again, it just gives you this sense of how many different places we'll get to visit.
Their libraries, which was the great.
Okay, so some people said that this looks poorly textured. I agree that it looks flat again in areas like this, but also like I feel like that's kind of what a library would look like, or like these are just plain walls, you know, like it's not like it's supposed to have like some cathedral style paintings up at the top here or something. Like I don't know. I don't really mind it as much because I think if you look at the textures on the railings and everything, they do have shading and they do have like cool sculpting to them. So I don't really mind it here. So this is not one of the ones that I would refer to as a problem. Because even like here, especially like when you can see the walkthrough right here, like it looks plenty good. Although again, I personally think that for certain things in a Lego game, I understand the people who want a Lego game to be fully built out of Lego, but I think that certain things actually work better when you marry kind of a classic game design along with Lego aesthetics. Because for example, like here, the rock texture here looks great. You're not going to be able to accomplish that with actual Lego bricks or accomplish that in a reasonable amount of time. It would take, I don't even know. This game would have like a 25-year development cycle.
The storytelling throughout Lego Star Wars is incredible.
I love this shot. That's great.
And funny moments.
And I like the, did you notice the arm? Notice the, it's C-3PO painting the arm, right? So again, that's certain like little nuances for Lego, you know, where I guess the transition here would be that Leia forgot to change her look up between episode 7 and 8. So she's just like, oh yeah, let me hold up. I have a new hairstyle. And then obviously C-3PO now has a red arm. So that's that like goofy charm of Lego games.
Because in a Lego game, we have freedom.
You can use the humor and we can spin it. So Han Solo is still being Han Solo, but he might have a banana instead of a blaster or something like that.
There's another new look for Han Solo.
We knew we needed to refresh the game and get something that felt familiar but reinvented. The system,
it definitely feels very reinvented. It feels like taking Lego games into a new
systems that make up that game.
generation.
Processing on the voices, so when you pick up a helmet and you put it on, your voice changes.
That's crazy.
Like you're a stormtrooper.
Like I don't mean to discount, because sometimes when I'll say like, oh, for a Lego game, people say, oh, well, so what do you think? Lego games are bad? No, I'm saying like, I just don't think of that kind of attention to detail and that kind of intricate adjustments being made in a Lego title. It's just not something that we've seen before. It's not because I think the games are bad or anything like that. It's because there has never been a case that was the kind of attention to detail that they did. Here, we can see that it will be. Like literally, when you put on the Stormtrooper helmet, it synthesizes the character's voice to now act as though it's going through the voice synthesizer of the helmet.
Putting a lot of emphasis
You know?
on the lighting and the environments. We have something like
They're gonna get super
12,000
technical
models
here.
that were generated for the game, 20,000 unique models, and 26,000 textures.
26,000 textures.
Lego companies work.
Now, the problem is all that just sounds like a lot of big numbers. It doesn't, ultimately what will matter is how will the game feel and play when we get it in our hands on April 5th, you know? So it sounds all fancy, but we gotta wait.
We get to recreate all these iconic designs literally brick by brick.
We built the ships entirely out of...
You see? So there's what I was saying. So if we zoom out, like here, right, you can see the sides of the ship and everything, like they don't look all that great. So like if I look at these, right, if you look here, it looks like you have a little bit of like weathering with like these dots and everything. But even here, you get a better idea of the reason why it looks so flat is because the actual pieces are combined sideways. So this is like the exterior part of the brick that we're seeing. And so we don't get a great sense of texture until we're way up close on these ships and these vehicles and so on and so forth, you know? So you see, like, as it zooms in, you could see the layered bricks. Again, I wish this was in a higher resolution. I wish this was available to us in a higher resolution, but this is the highest resolution. It was posted by IGN, who are the ones who put this together. So we just have to go off of what we have here.
That's the interior, so you can land inside these ships. And
then look at that.
In an environment.
Like the interiors, I honestly think it works. I think it looks wonderful. I think that it does have a sense of, it's a Lego brick built world, but you still get a good sense of texture. So the interiors, I have no complaints about. I never felt like the interiors felt bad. It's the exteriors that look very flat. Like look, right there. So again, if you look at this, don't want to sound like a broken record, but all of this looks so lacking as far as details. And it's predominantly due to the fact that we need to get closer to actually spot the individual bricks that have been put together intricately to design this whole thing.
We've designed some of the characters that don't exist as physical
This
models.
looks really cool.
What we would do is we'd look at the film reference.
This is so well done. Like, I love that design.
In Lego creatures and characters that are similar, and then what we end up with is
Horback,
something that is
Woolmander. That's a cool design.
Take the Bantha, for
I
example.
love this shot right here. This feels so alive. Like, this is one of my favorite shots in this developer diary after this one, because it just feels like you're really like in a thriving and living Tatooine.
It's just really true to Lego IP, and it's really true to the film IP.
There's a little Bantha dance, an R2-D2 bopping.
So what we've done is try to keep what's familiar, but really add something a bit more modern in, a bit more fresher. One of the things we've done in this game is we've gone for a third-person camera.
Yep.
With the blaster combat in the game, we really wanted it to make it feel more visceral. Now when you use the blaster combat, we bring the camera down, we get into this like third-person perspective, and it just really makes you feel like more.
I would argue that Lego games were third-person perspective before that as well. It's just that they are more I guess it's like over the shoulder third person more so than what it was before, but that's just me. Also, I would urge you guys to pay attention to this right here, because it's kind of important. And we'll talk about that in a moment.
Which is pretty great.
Using the Force is a huge part of the game.
The Jedi, the Sith, they all have this Force power where they can literally pick objects off the
This is also really cool. So you can pick up whatever object and just use the Force. If you're, as long as you're a Jedi or a Sith, anyone who has the ability to obviously use the Force, and then you can just crash it into enemies for damage, which is awesome.
You can fly into space and there's like just interactions that will happen. Giant ships like a Star Destroyer coming in. You can
again, Star Destroyer looks very flat textured.
Defeat it and you can capture it and take it over.
Hey, that looked like a pretty giant battle.
There's a few Easter eggs in this game.
Lots of Easter eggs. Here we go.
You can switch all the weapons so that it's mouth noises. So you can be like, zhuang zhuang, woo woo, pew pew.
And of course, you might have heard of a little thing called Mumble mode.
Mumble
It's
mode.
basically
Legendary.
how the old Star Wars games were. We had to rely on animation, expression, and these sort of mumbles that mimicked the speech.
It goes.
There it is. Another little demo of Mumble mode.
Seeing your work put together on a scale like this really makes it feel like
Hey, there's Boba's ship.
This is
Slave
ultimate
One.
experience of going everywhere in the universe.
That's obviously that's a shot that we've seen before. This right here. But again, this is really cool in terms of just the sheer scale of things. The only problem with this shot, again, I would argue is a texturing issue. Keep in mind, this is not the highest resolution video. Keep in mind, YouTube compresses video by default. And so there's a lot of nuance with this. The only way we'll be able to really tell how good or bad the textures are is when we get the game in our hands, we get to play it. But again, the ships here in the back definitely look a little flat. The terrain itself, it looks pretty flat also. So again, I acknowledge that issue. And that's the reason why I'm pointing it out so many times, because I know somebody else will. So I want him to be aware that I'm aware of it. I know that it's there.
Of going everywhere in the universe as whatever character you
Hey,
really
Cody's
be
out there. Look at them.
in-
Look at that. That's another great shot. Look.
in Star Wars.
Definitely. There's definitely a great sense of being in Star Wars.
Really ambitious project. What they've achieved, they should be rightfully proud of.
There it is. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. So, beyond this, they then went ahead and they also had an interview for about 15 minutes or so where they talked about the game in more detail, and they talked about the goals and reveals, and predominantly it was basically a sales pitch of the game. Not in a bad way or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, that's really what it was. As far as things that we really kind of like learned from that particular moment. We learned the fact that it seems like they're going to go away from doing true Jedi rank, which is very confusing considering that, again, if I go back to 3 minutes and 40, there it is, and 42 seconds here, you can see up at the top here, you can see what looks like a true Jedi bar. And so it looks like almost like, hey, you get one Kyber brick if you reach this rank. You get another Kyber brick if you reach this rank, and then you get not Kyber brick, you get a reward for reaching this level of damage or whatever that is, or collecting studs, because these look like studs. And then, of course, you get the purple ones up here. So it's interesting to understand what this bar is, but don't be concerned. They did go on ahead and confirm that they are still going to keep mini kits. So those are in the game. They have obviously shown us the red power bricks, which will be powered via this screen right here. So we've obviously seen that. And this screen right here, oddly enough, actually does give us a confirmation that the mini kits themselves maintain their classic look right there. So that's obviously present. But we do have red power bricks. We do have mini kits to collect. And the one thing that has been adjusted is that True Jedi has been now adjusted to be just challenges, allowing you to like replay the game. So this could be more in the sense of, hey, complete this level using this character, or complete this level maybe in this amount of time. We don't know the specificity of what the challenges are. So this is just me brainstorming what they might be. But that's going to be their way of trying to incentivize people to replay the levels now, instead of just going back and getting just the mini kits or the True Jedi. They seem to have gone away from the True Jedi thing and instead do challenges that will act in the same way, or fundamentally do the same thing. So that's kind of a big detail, I guess, that came out of this. To me, I don't think it's really a big deal. I think if they removed mini kits, that would be kind of upsetting, because I think the mini kits are such like a thing that you use for Lego games to reward exploring these levels. So it'd be kind of disappointing if they took that out from these levels. But since those are in, I'm perfectly fine with the removal of True Jedi in the way that we think of it, and instead doing other challenges. I think it's fundamentally the same exact thing, so I don't really mind it whatsoever. They also did confirm that the Kyber bricks are going to be their new gold bricks. So Typically in a Lego game, you would collect gold bricks, which is just a way that you would collect something to reward yourself for exploring the hub worlds and things like that. So instead, we've got Kyber bricks this time around. The other thing that they did mention during that interview is that this level, or sorry, the game itself is designed from the ground up. So this is not a case of what a lot of people thought, which is, oh, they're going to take the complete Star Wars games, like the complete saga of the Star Wars games, episodes 1 through 6, and just basically make them look nicer. And then they'll take episode 7, which they've already made, The Force Awakens, and then make new stuff for episode 8 and 9. That's not the case. This game is designed from the ground up. So again, if you've played the complete saga, this will still be a completely fresh and unique experience for you. You don't have to worry about thinking like, oh, okay, am I basically only getting episodes 8 and 9 as far as like new content? All of the stuff is new from episodes 1 through 9. So keep that in mind. So with all of that being said, they also did go on ahead and mention that their focus as far as the design of the game is concerned, they mentioned that they really want to have us as the players go through the actual hub worlds more. So it seems like they're probably going to do a lot of tasks on the planets in between the main levels. So like typically speaking, a traditional Lego game at this point in time, you can kind of expect that you have the story and then you have the hub worlds. The hub worlds are really kind of the open areas that you get to do a bunch of side quests and exploring and racing and all these other like smaller tasks. But the main story unfolds in the levels. They do have that structure present here, but it looks like there will be a much greater focus on doing stuff on the planet between the levels. And so they made a huge point on saying that they want you to like explore the planet from different areas and also explore the planet in the sense of even going into like the atmosphere of the planet and maybe having some sort of a space battle in between levels. So I think that's really, really cool. And again, that goes back to, remember that scene earlier in the trailer, this one right here, where they show us how many different places they want us to visit throughout the dive of an episode, because you can see each one of these screens is shown specifically to tie in with an episode. So you have episode 1, you have episode 4 right there. So I think that this gives you a great sense of how much of a focus there will be on doing stuff beyond just the core levels, because I would argue that any moment where you can see this map here is probably happening outside of a main level, because I think that those, generally speaking, in a traditional sense, again, for a Lego game, usually you only get the maps when you're in the hub worlds. You don't get a map when you're inside of a level. And so you'll see it's not present here. It's not present here. It's not present here. So it's not present here. So I think that that is certainly the case. And that shows you that there will be a lot of tasks that we'll be completing within the hub world itself. So with that all out of the way, the one last detail that I do have written down is to mention that during the interview with the head of the game, they also did mention that there are going to be 23 planets, which is something that we knew. But interestingly enough, he also mentioned specifically 28 landing locations, which implies that I guess there are multiple landing locations in some of the planets, because obviously it does not match up. If there were only 23 locations to land at and only 23 planets, they should be even. But instead, we're getting 23 and 28. So there's another detail there. So with all that in mind, let me know what you guys thought of this developer diary. Are you excited for the game more or less? Did this in any way get you worried about the game, more excited? Let me know down in the comment section below. Like I said, also, if you've pre-ordered the game, let me know which platform you've got the game pre-ordered on. And of course, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this news update. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Turn on your notifications, because we're getting close to the release of this thing. So you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm definitely going to be doing tons and tons of videos for this game when it drops. Thanks all for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Don't forget, check out the merch shop. New merch dropped, so go check that out. The new Blitzbot badge design has dropped for 2022, so go check that out. And thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.